welcome to my booktube channel. Yay! Hi, I'm Natasha. Can I say my own name? I'm Natasha. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am so excited to be here with you today. I have wanted to make a booktube channel for a very long time. I'm gonna be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag to introduce myself, introduce what kind of books I like to read, and yeah, let's get right into it. Let's get started. Actually, before we get started, let me explain this mess that's going on here. Right here, I have some books from the library. This is my young adult contemporary. These are some of like my random favorite books. And then here is my TBR shelf. A lot of these are gifts or books that I've borrowed, and hopefully, since I am supposed to be reading these and not picking up anything else, you see these books changing around like with the more videos that I film. Okay, let's get into the questions. Question number one is, why did you start this channel? I love to read, obviously. I absolutely love to read, and I really love the social aspect of reading. Last year, at the beginning of the pandemic, a couple of my friends and I, a couple of my coworkers, we started a book club. And that book club really reminded me how much I love the social aspect of reading, how much I love talking about books, how much I love to just like express my opinion, see if people think differently. Yeah, so I thought, hey, I should probably, talk to people about books. I'm the world's worst photographer, so Bookstagram is just not gonna fly. Nobody's gonna follow me. I would not even follow me. But I do have a lot of opinions, and maybe we share some, maybe we don't. Okay. Question number two is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? I think that Booktube has changed so much since I started watching like 10 years ago or whatever. There were a lot of creators who were kind of the same demographics, and now there are so many different people from different ages, different races, different countries, etc., who are making videos talking about books, bringing in unique perspectives, and I think that I could be a drop in that bucket of diversity. I am Dominican American. I am the oldest daughter to some immigrant parents. I've grown up in a Latinx community my entire life, and I think that that is a pretty unique perspective that not a lot of people see or hear when talking about books. And to meet some other people from the Latinx diaspora would just be great. I have a book in Spanish actually right over here, which I'm planning on reading soon. And I feel like I never see booktubers talk about books in Spanish. That would be great to hear somebody talk about a book that they read that was in Spanish. I love that. I can read in Spanish too. Like, let's do it. Let's talk about it. Also, I live in New York, and before the pandemic was a thing, I was always going to different bookstores, to a lot of different author signings. There was a point where all that I did, every time I hung out with my best friend, we would just go to different author signings in the city. And I know that a lot of people do not have the opportunity to do that, to meet their favorite authors. So maybe when things are up and running again, I can film that or talk about my experiences going to author signings and meeting some authors. I don't know. I think that would be really cool. Another fun and unique thing that I think I can bring to Booktube is that I am not picky. I am not judgmental. If a book reads like fan fiction, that's great. I love fan fiction. If a book is what somebody would consider to be a guilty pleasure, let's go for it. I am not feeling guilty. I'm reading it and I'm loving it. Okay, question number three is, what are you most excited for with this new channel? And I think what I'm most excited for is just to engage with people about books, to make friends, to hear different perspectives. I pretty much only talk about books with my really good friends who also live in New York, who are also women in their 20s and who are also Latinx. So I think it would be really great to make some friends who are not like me and who have different perspectives and who would have different things to say, and I just think that would be great. Question number 4 is, why do I love reading this is kind of a difficult question for me because asking me, reading is so essential to who I am that that's almost like asking me why do I like getting dressed or why do I like eating. Ever since my brother and I were little kids, our parents really pounded into our heads like reading is a really good hobby. Reading is what smart people do. Reading is what will get you straight A's. Reading is what will get you places. They really pounded that into our heads. I don't think we had a computer growing up until like we became teenagers and needed them for school. Our parents really limited our TV time, so we were really outdoorsy kids, and my mom would take us to the library and be like, okay, this is where you're going, instead of taking us to Toys R Us, and she would be like, pick 3 or 4 books, and that's what we would do for fun. So reading has always just been a really, really big part of my life. That's why I love it. All right. Question number 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? I kind of answered this with the last question. I definitely read all the really popular books growing up, and the libraries at my school, all the librarians knew my name. I would like eat lunch in the library instead of eating it with my friends or in the cafeteria or whatever. I read Percy Jackson as they were coming out and I was growing up. I read Twilight when the movies came out. I read all those young adult, The Hunger Games, all of those when they were all really cool. And I know a lot of people kind of were really big readers in middle or high school that stopped and then during the pandemic picked it up again. That was not me. I just kept reading. So I'm not going to say that a specific book or series got me into reading. If I had to say one, maybe it would be like Junie B. Jones or something when I was like in 1st grade. That's Junie B. Jones. She's the person, she's the one, she's the character who got me into reading. Okay, question number 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? And I think I only pretty much have one question. This also goes with hand in hand with question number 7, which is, what challenges do you think would be hardest to overcome regarding this channel? I think the hardest challenge would be just to get into the rhythm of creating content and posting it. And that would be my question. How long did it take before you actually got into a good rhythm of creating and posting videos? I have been watching booktube videos since I was like 14, like 10 years ago. I'm 24 now. I have been reading for longer than that. And I have not made any videos. I have a Goodreads account and I do write some reviews, but I haven't really put myself out there regarding my thoughts and my opinions on books. And I think it's because I'm questioning and asking myself like, okay, there are so many talented, amazing, educated people who are out there putting out content, giving out their opinions, like making some claims, making some statements about books, giving their thoughts. And I think it's just been a little bit of a struggle for me to actually sit down and film this and be like, okay, somebody's gonna watch this, somebody's gonna engage with this, which is crazy because I'm subscribed to like so many booktubers and I care about what all of them have to say. So for me to think that nobody's gonna care about what I have to say is just, I don't know, it's a little dramatic. But I would ask, how long did it take for you to post a video and be like, okay, like somebody is gonna watch this and comment and engage? Like, how long did it take for you to get to that point? That's pretty much what I would ask, and I think that's gonna be the hardest challenge to overcome. So if one person comments on this video, I love you, I'm offering you my hand in marriage. Okay, let's move on. Question number 8, I kind of already answered. It's, when did I start reading? I started reading as soon as I could. Before I could read on my own, my parents were reading bedtime stories to my brother and I. So age, whatever, child, baby, age baby. That's when I started reading. Question number 9 is, where do you read? Like I mentioned earlier, I live in New York. I'm a commuter. Some of my commutes to work or school have been like 2 hours long. So I read a lot on public transportation. And I have a lot of emotions on public transportation. I have cried on the subway, on the bus, in Ubers. I have laughed out loud. I read a lot on public transportation and I have a lot of feelings on public transportation. I read a lot at home too. I'm pretty good at like blocking out distractions, so I'm good reading at home. Question number 10, the last question that I'm gonna answer is, what kind of books do you read? Like I said before, I'm not judgmental, I'm not picky. I will pretty much read anything that anybody says, here, you should read this, it's good. I'll pretty much read it. My two favorite genres and the books that I would say you'll see the most on my Goodreads or me talk about on this channel are gonna be romance and fantasy, like every other thotty on Book Talk. On Bookish TikTok. I absolutely love romance. I am here for a good contemporary romance. I am here for a good historical romance. If a book has a really weird plot or a really bad plot and there's a strong romance, I am here for it. I will read it and I will love it. I also really love fantasy books. There can be a really great fantasy book with absolutely no romance, or romance that I'm not rooting for. And if it's like an amazing world, an interesting magic system, really great characters, I'm here for it. I am here for it too. I don't read a lot of horror. I don't read a lot of thrillers just because I'm a big scaredy cat. But otherwise, I'm here to read any kind of books. I love to read graphic novels. I read a lot of graphic novels when I'm in a slump and I kind of need something to pick me up and to get me back into reading again. I'll pick up a graphic novel. I really love the classics. I have this little Pride and Prejudice print that one of my best friends got me for Christmas because that's one of my most favorite books of all time. My dog is actually named Darcy after Mr. Darcy. I love Jane Austen. I love the Bronte sisters. And I will say that 99.99999% of the books I read are written by women. I do think that there are some really amazing series written by men, and there are a lot of amazing books written by men, but I tend to gravitate more towards books written by women. Let me just say, for 2021, my goals are kind of to expand what I've been reading, to read definitely more books by women of color. I read a lot of books by women, like I just said, but a lot of them are white women. I don't necessarily pay attention to like, oh, is this a woman of color? I would like to be way more intentional about that and to pick up books specifically that are by women of color. I would also like to read at least 2 or 3 books in Spanish. I've done it before, but again, I'm not really intentional about that. And I would really love to read some books that were written in Spanish. And another one of my reading goals this year is to read at least 2 or 3 books that were written originally in another language and were translated into English. I know that there can be trouble with translations and they can be kind of tricky. But I think it's really important to read literature from other places, and that's something that I do want to be more intentional about too. Okay, thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. I know we're in February, but if you would like to comment down below some of the goals that you have for reading this year, that would be great. Do you want to read more women of color like I do? Do you want to read some translations, or do you want to do something completely different? I don't know, let me know. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm definitely gonna be posting another video very soon. My name is Natasha. Thank you for watching.